Hello my dudes, today we are playing Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines Clan Quest mod with Heather as companion via the Companions mod Light. Trying to see all the endings before Bloodlines 2 comes out. Today, we are in the downtown area, about to go visit Grout, the missing Malkavian Primogen. So let's do that, shall we? Where's the taxi? Off to a great start. I'll be curious about this conversation specifically, whether the Malkavian has special insight into who is pretending
what
to
are
be
you
nice.
doing here?
Key of the numbered name.
No?
Your words are a little wobbly.
You should get out of here. This place is bad news. Pardon me.
What secrets within those walls? Okay, so we didn't get any clue as to who's impersonating Nines. But something Rosa said earlier leads me to believe it was the Malkavian Thunblood at the very beginning of the game who told our fortune pretty accurately, given what foreknowledge I possess. Said at one point that
look.
Heather, okay, you know what? You're off combat duty. Every time I put you on combat, bad things happen to me. Let me do all the fighting. You can just be moral support.
Something's there in the dark?
Okay, this is not going well. Yeah, this is going very not well so far. Wanted to save the shotgun for, you know, enemies I can't eat. I'd mostly sneak through this place, but I mean, we can all see how well that's going.
It is quite peculiar, the happenings I've been made to witness for my supernatural longevity. I am thinking of one unfortunate phenomenon in particular, of unique interest to my station, both as a professional and as a sufferer of this vampiric condition. It seems the stream of time has begun to erode the moorings of my chosen course of study, for the methodologies that gave birth to psychology are slowly disappearing. I find myself in an era that overlooks the physical component of psychological pathology time and again in favor of the sophistic practices of Freud. Phrenology, dactylpintilism, and the rest of the old guard has fallen by the wayside, its champions all silenced in death, with my unique exception. Would that I could make my voice heard again, although it may be suspicious should I return to popular medical discourse 50 years after my apparent death. No, better that I continue my studies into the psychoses in secret. One day, may I hold up my own cure as validation of the methods. I am confident no cure for my condition, or that of my beloved wife, lies within our figurative minds, waiting to be unlocked by the correct combination of memories recovered from our childhoods. And I'm most certain it has nothing to do with the relationship between myself, my parents, and my genitals. Sorry, Sigmund, but I choose to stay my course. In time, too, may your star fade and disappear.
There we go. There are clues that tell you what order to do it in, but I never do do that. I just pull until it works.
Another unfortunate casualty to tide of time, insane asylums. I lament their loss not only as brokerage houses for the breadth and depth of human psychoses, but also I shall mourn the disappearance of that peculiar environment present only in an insane asylum. That palpable atmosphere of blistered brains and churning bowels, the odoriferous mélange of frequent rolling cacophonies and sobs and screams, the muttered curses and the blissful gurgling of the lobotomized, like a newborn babe discovering the sky. I shall still find test subjects as surely as I find bloody sustenance in the night, but this climate, I fear, may never be replicated.
Here's Heather the mobile blood bank. That is what you are. One thing that's always intrigued me about Grout is, where did... Malkavian madness and his antiquated barbarism, or the other way around, even. Because it's clear, based on the tapes, that he was disturbed, but how much of that is because he was Malkavian, and how much of that was because he was just weird guy who was intrigued by things like the blistering brains of his insane asylums. Who knows? Definitely towards the end of his life, his paranoia and stuff was Malkavian insight at its finest. But before that, how much was him? You don't know.
Often I reflect with great regret on the missed opportunity that was my infector. Had I been conscious after the attack, I could have stopped the orderlies from locking her in the roaming pen. What I would give for just one interview, a few simple questions of the plague-ridden woman who met her end that dawn. Of course, there is no guarantee she would have been any more helpful than my current crop of test subjects, mewling wretches. Few could be called enthusiastic. Given the nature of the tests, I cannot expect the same fervor from all, but a modicum of cooperation would be appreciated. Animals. The one called John went so far as to gnaw off his arm and escape into the floorboards like some feral rodent. I still hear him scurrying about at night. He must be making an atrocious mess in there.
Ah, John. Classic John.
My studies proceed at a languid pace. I'm mired in a foul ennui as my wife's illness advances. My subjects grow restless without proper supervision, but I cannot pull myself back from this black depression. How many nights I've wasted now, gazing from the tower walk, pondering the frailty of existence.
Blood heal, where are you? Hysteria. No, that was a close one. I think we had a sliver of health. This section is gonna be a little hard for me because last time I came through here, I was on a Nosferatu with really high, you know, axe skill.
After decades of solitary study into this affliction, I have learned that it is by no means mine alone. Indeed, the city is home to an entire society of similarly afflicted individuals with whom I've only recently made contact. They are an understandably standoffish sort, by and large, but I have been able to confirm with them that the condition is indeed vampirism, which apparently comes in a multitude of strains, each with a spectacular set of symptoms such as invisibility and even a sort of lycanthropy. Through numerous official interactions with the governing body of this secret society, I have concluded that their fundamental understanding of the vampiric condition is woefully lacking and mired in suspicion and pseudo-religious dogma that would make a Turk balk for its strictures. Indeed, they seemed impressed with my studies and the eloquence with which I was able to present them. Apparently, the typical sufferer of my particular strain of vampirism is far from the vanguard of the King's English. So impressed were they that they even offered me an office in their government, a rather high office by the sound of things. I believe I shall accept. If nothing else, it should provide a lofty vantage point from which to observe the breadth and epidemiology of the affliction, so that I may move more expeditiously toward a cure.
Yeah, I definitely find Grout most interesting of all the Malkavians, really, because his madness is just, it's so insidious, and it might not even be like madness, it could just be, you know, prejudice and ignorance combined with a smug belief in his own infallibility. It's impossible to tell.
I have accepted the role of Primogen for Clan Malkavian, the dreadfully winsome label applied to the particular strain of vampirism I suffer, so named for some supposed vampire father figure of old. More poppycock grown from a backward culture that seems interminably drawn to children's tales and the fiction of Victorian romance, when it should concern itself with the science behind their suffering. No matter, for I have taken this office for no greater reason than to advance my research. I must make mention, however, that even among my would-be peers in this governing body of vampires, the level of paranoia and superstition is frightening. Their intelligence is not the question, no, indeed. As they courted me for this appointment, I had to suspect that their overtures were hand-tailored to what must be my obvious infatuation with reason, for the devil would do well to have such honey-tongued tempters. Even so, I could not help but notice the dressing of language these vampire leaders chose for their siren song. Whether it is born of habit, from addressing their unwashed, ill-educated subjects, or from their own deep-seated beliefs, Their linguistic flourishes belie a faith in superstition over the providence of empirical reason that must be an all-pervasive theme in this society of darkest night. Damn it all, now I'm doing it too.
Yeah, I think Grout is very interesting, especially with regards to his wife. Like, it's never fully explained what was wrong with her, or whether she was a vampire herself. I swear, Heather, if you knock me into the electricity, we're gonna have a talk. Not the kind of talk you'll like. That's the library. Don't want to do that. I do that. Since we're on a load screen, I'll save it.
As I expand my dealings with the vampire government, I have encountered a disturbing new symptom of this affliction. Frequently, in conversation, I will hear voices emanating from other vampires, voices that are not their own, but which seem to have insight into their lives beyond what I could gather from simple conversation. These voices seem to echo from deep within my fellow vampires, and I cannot be certain if this symptom belongs to my strain of illness or theirs, for the voices are various and inconsistent. I dare not mention this symptom to my vampiric peers, for they have proven themselves true predators to whom I could be loath to reveal any sign of weakness. Indeed, these voices have counseled me against confessing their presence, and until I can confirm their source, I will listen. The information the voices have given me ranges from curious to frightening. The latter case is especially true of one powerful vampire whose name I shall not commit to recording in the interests of self-preservation.
Blood heal. I don't even know if there's anything in that room to justify.
proven themselves true predators to whom I'd be loath to reveal any sign of weakness. Indeed, these voices have counseled me against confessing their presence, and until I can confirm their source, I will listen. The information the voices have given me ranges from curious to frightening. The latter case is especially true of one powerful vampire whose name I shall not commit to recording in the interests of...
Answer is no, though.
What now?
Gun, but the ammo is so expensive. I want to avoid using it.
Freeze! Okay, stop right there. Come on.
John. When he supposedly crawled beneath the floorboards. I guess he can't be, because John chewed his arm off.
The voices have increased in frequency and direction of late. They have begun to stay with me long after conversation has ceased and are serving as quite a distraction. I fear others are beginning to notice my preoccupation at the vampire gatherings. I am thinking again of the particular vampire of whom I spoke previously, who I dare not name for my growing fear. If the voices are to be believed, then my caution is warranted, for they speak of his blackest crimes, both past and future. More than once, I have seen the suspicion in his eyes and heard the distrust in his voice when speaking of me. The fear must register on my face, as it is all I can do in these moments to keep from crying out in chorus with the voices. I am no longer safe. I know it. The voices have proven themselves authentic, and I have withdrawn from the Vampire Society entirely. My absence will no doubt draw attention, but I could no longer hold my fragile composure around the ravenous eyes of my vampire peers, especially not around him. The voices compelled me to make what I fear is a Faustian bargain, but I had to, for their demands are constant and merciless. I have secluded myself within the mansion. I know he will strike out at me. He will go to any length to achieve his ambitions, and he knows it, I know. I have taken precautions to protect my beloved wife. Her cure will have to wait until our immediate safety is guaranteed. The mansion was constructed with security in mind, but at that time I was not privy to the full range of vampire capabilities. The voices echo in the twisted corridors of my psyche, dark whisperings of a macabre and formless menace, the approach of which portends an end to all of this.
See, this is the wife. What's interesting is he said he's trying to work on a cure, and he's been trying to work on a cure presumably since he was human, which makes it seem like she must be a vampire too, because while she has a little bit of gray in her hair, she's not that old. But it never really confirms whether she's a vampire stuck in there or just a well-aged human. Or if maybe he met her after he became a vampire. Or she could be a vampire with some other disease on top of it. Or she could be a thin blood. That's considered a disease. I mean, really, there's no limit to the what ifs in this situation. Spun around her little glass enclosure, the key to his bedroom, so. It's also unclear how much LaCroix actually contributed to Grout's death, if at all. Because based on his paranoia and what we know of LaCroix, it's gotta be him that he's talking about as the powerful vampire whose ambitions know no end, and who he ended up hiding from. And we know that Bach hunts LaCroix and has been hunting him for years. And Bach is the one who is ultimately responsible for Grout. So did LaCroix lead Bach to Grout on purpose? He doesn't act like it, but again, it's possible.
I'll blind them.
They Lord be cleansed by the flames!
Grout is no longer a corpse, he is ash.
Grout is dead? Pity it could not be by my hand. No matter.
Yeah, and there's that.
Soon your self-made
Bach
kings
says that
and false
it wasn't
prophets
him.
and all
And while
who bear
he's
the
far
mark of
from
the
a
beast
reliable
will be
source,
washed from the earth for the
he
coming
has
of
no
the
good
Lord.
reason to lie to us, who he's also planning to kill. Got a time frame on that one?
Babble your native tongue in the pits of the abyss. I will not hear it anymore.
But why?
As you burn, tell them it was Grünfeld Bach who sent your damned soul to that lake of fire. All agents of Satan shall return to whence they came. Let this righteous display serve as a promise to all who serve the archfiend LaCroix. I'm coming for you, LaCroix. By the power of the Lord, I will cleanse your black soul.
Much talk, little sense. Which, you know... No, wrong door again.
May Lord be cleansed by the flames! Grout is dead? Pit. Yes, you let this.
Let's save it right here.
Something's there in the dark?
Yeah, that's definitely not the right way. Maybe it's through here?
Priest!
Yeah, this looks more familiar. I feel like maybe it's through here. No,
Priest!
no, it's not.
Hey, stop right there.
We're so close.
Freeze! Hey, hold it! Hey, hold it!
Yeah, I don't know how Heather escaped because she wouldn't have survived that trial. And like I was set on fire multiple times trying to get out, so I feel like she would have been too.
Evening there. Something burning? Ooh, smells like someone burnt the burgers.
Yeah. My nose knows no such thing. Send me to the Grout.
Sure, I'll open her up for you. Jeez, I could go for one of them double-spaced burgers. Onions, cheese, bacon, guacamole.
The Primogens still haven't been contacted by Grout. I thought I made it clear that you were not supposed to come back until we had heard from him.
We no longer hear the voice of Grout.
Grout's dead? What?
Who is Bach? And why does he want to set me on fire?
Bach! Every time I think he's lost the scent. So, Bach killed Grout to draw me out.
Grout was not hunted, he was disposed of.
Bach is a hunter. They stalk and kill our kind to appease their god. But like many mortals, their so-called faith is nothing but a conduit through which they quench their killing urge. Who else would have killed Grout?
Nines? He seemed to be there too.
Look at me. Are you sure it was Nines Rodriguez? Because if it was, the consequences... Do you know where this might lead? Do you really have any idea?
This one does not know, but he knows something was not Nines.
It means, under most circumstances, I would call a blood hunt on the murderer immediately. However, the anarchs of this city may interpret such an action to be a declaration of war. I do not want a war with them. This decision will take some time. I need to confer with the Primogen on this. In the meantime, I've come to a decision on the Ankaran sarcophagus, and I believe that for the safety of the inhabitants of this city, we need to place the sarcophagus under Camarilla protection until its contents can be confirmed. You're becoming quite indispensable to me. So, out of all my available personnel, I'm going to entrust the retrieval of the sarcophagus to you. It was quietly delivered to the Museum of Natural History a few hours ago.
I am gone now.
The manifest from the Dane shows there was a small box from the same dig on board, but it was listed as missing. Keep an eye open for it. It may have been overlooked. It's crucial we get the sarcophagus in our possession within the next few hours.
It is here.
Here are the keys to the front door of the museum. The sarcophagus should be in an examination room of some sort. There's a small security staff on site, but I don't want a massacre. Mortals are just as easy to deceive as they are to kill.
And I forgot about the whole Nines thing. Nines was there, so whoever was actually impersonating Nines so effectively too is the person who killed Bach, or who killed Grout, and possibly tipped off Bach. This rat, I cannot get. It's like too close to the map or something. Very clever rat. Pick the one place that I can't eat it.